I'm Tim Garland, and this is the Trail Connection Podcast. Exploring, learning, and connecting through love for the outdoors. Talking everything from hiking, camping, to just plain living. This is the Trail Connection Podcast. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Trail Connection Podcast. This week we're kicking off a brand new segment that I'm calling Skoolie Sessions. And in case you haven't heard, my wife and I recently purchased a short bus, and we are in the middle of converting it into a camper. Plan is to take it around the country for a little bit. Not doing anything crazy. I'm not quitting my job or anything. But I'm definitely going to capitalize on some vacation time that I've got accumulated and go see some parts of this beautiful country that I've never seen before and explore that with my kids. So about 2 weeks ago, purchased the bus and started digging into it. And along the way, I kind of came up with this idea to utilize this thing every now and then for getting together with cool people that I meet around the country, and or just bringing some good buddies to come and chill and hang out and do a Skoolie session podcast episode inside or on top or outside of the bus, whatever ends up going on. So super excited to kind of get that kicked off. And today's episode is titled Skoolie Sessions PreSchool, because if you're watching the video, you can see it is a mess in here. I am in the midst of gutting it to the core, and basically where I'm at right now is we got the bus, brought it home. I pulled out all the seats, all the flooring, all the rubber, ripped all the skin out of it, pulled all the insulation out of it, gutted a ton of extra excess wire out of it. And I have fixed some rust spots on the bottom floor, coated it with a protective coating, put down insulation, put down flooring of the plywood, and started the insulation process. So we kind of have a lot going on right now, but I got a ton of stuff just coming in day to day, parts that I've ordered and things that I've purchased that'll be trickling in here over the next week or two. But I'm hoping that by the end of April, we'll have this thing completely wrapped up, completely renovated, and ready to hit the road for our first trip, which we'll probably end up doing here locally. Just traveling to some areas of Florida that we've never been to, taking advantage to go up and stay with my sister in Jacksonville and hit the St. Augustine area around there, do some cool stuff with the kids. So that's kind of the short-term game plan. But anyway, wanted to kick off this series today and kind of just dive in a little bit on why a bus. Well, one, it's pretty awesome. Anybody who's been around the outdoor community and followed any kind of accounts on social media, you've seen a Skoolie conversion. You've seen somebody who's just taken a bus and completely changed it into a tiny home or into a recreational vehicle. And I have had this dream for several years now. It's something that I've really been wanting to do for my sense of adventure, wanting to get out and travel the country, and just stay really cool places, see some beautiful sights. But I'm also a little bit of a handyman. I like doing construction work. I like doing home renovations and building things and that kind of stuff. Grew up working around my dad, who's was a contractor formerly, and my brother doing the same thing. Done a lot of work to my own home that my wife and I just purchased last year. But while we were living here renting it with the intent to buy, I did quite a bit of upgrades. So anyway, just something that I really enjoy doing and I get a lot of fulfillment and joy out of. So that was part of it as well. And then I've got this really gnawing drive to unplug my family from just the day-to-day routine of getting up and doing pretty much a similar thing every day, and just kind of getting into a little bit of a rut. And so I want to shake that up, and I want to introduce my kids to some beautiful things that they've never seen before. My older two are getting to the point where they're very very much in tune with their memories. I mean, they're remembering stuff that I don't remember that far back from my childhood, but I know they're a little bit closer to the beginning of it than I am. But it's just really neat to kind of hear them, recount things that we've done or places we've been or things that have happened. And so the time's now. Like I gotta seize the moment and go. And so my wife and I have never really been in a position financially to do anything like this. We have been tremendously blessed over the last 2 years with some very unique circumstances that have allowed us to really capitalize on some of our biggest dreams. And this is one of mine. And me having an amazing wife that I do, realize how much this is important to me. And she very eagerly agreed to let me do this. So a little bit of background on how we got the bus, what we got, and what we're working with here. So I have a couple buddies at work that I've been talking to about this for a while, and one of them, his wife runs a daycare, and so they had several buses available. There was one that they retired from their fleet, so I got in contact with him and let him know I was interested, and very quickly was able to meet up with him, check it out, test drive it, and really great circumstance. And so I capitalized on that. It is a 2004 Chevy 3500 mid-bus guide. It's a mouthful. 27 passenger minibus, shuttle bus if you want to call it that. Kind of got the van front with the bus back. And so I was super pumped. It's exactly what I was looking for. I really wanted to find something that was short wheelbase, that was not going to require CDL license. It was something that I could navigate in a lot of treacherous areas around mountain turns and that kind of stuff, because the primary area that I'm up is up in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and I just didn't want to even think about trying to navigate some of those tight mountain turns with a gigantic full-size diesel bus. So it's gas. This is gas. So engine I'm familiar with, kind of tinkering with a little bit, and everything is in really great shape. It had 92,000 miles on it. Really great shape. So tip one, if you're interested in looking into something like this, I think this was the best case scenario for where to buy a bus from, because it was transporting children around from the daycare to the school and back and forth. So I know it was really taken care of. I trust the guy that I bought it from. He's a good friend. Mechanically and structurally, it's sound. Very, very minor rust damage to the subfloor when I pulled up the plywood and everything. And it's really great because it allowed me to kind of see how this thing's put together, what the guts look like, and I was able to diagnose where some of that water was coming from. So we're going to get it sealed up, and it'll be weather tight and insulated very well. So purchased it. I'll go ahead and say it's no secret. I got it for $6,500, which is a really good price for the mileage and the year of the vehicle, with it having kind of a clean history. And I'm sure I could find one cheaper somewhere if I went with an auction, or if I bargain shopped quite a bit. But I was very comfortable with the price and the product. It kind of came at the right time, so I was able to snag that up. And so we got it home 2 weeks ago, and I have been pretty much spending every waking moment in this thing. Like I said, we've pretty much got it gutted, and I got a pretty short timetable that I'm wanting to complete it in. But we're planning our first trip sometime in June or July if it works out financially and vacation wise. So that's kind of where we're at. Give you a quick little description of the layout that we're going for and some of the features that I'm going to hope to have with this thing. I've only got about 12 feet of workable area. It's 12 feet by 7.5 feet on the interior. We're going to lose a little bit of that to insulation and padding out for the finish. We're going with a tongue and groove pine siding paneling system that we're going to use in here for the roof and the walls. Pretty much it's going to stay open concept. We're going to have in the very back of the bus, driver's side, will be our kitchenette area. We're going to have a little countertop with a 2-burner stove, propane stove, a little small sink. And then that'll kind of roll up towards the middle of the driver's side where we'll have some kind of cabinet that'll have a mini fridge on top of the wheel well, and then probably storage going up above that to the ceiling. And then beyond that, up closer to the driver's side, we'll have 2 of the original bus seats in here, one facing forward, the other one facing backwards, kind of booth style. And if you're watching the video, that's where I'm sitting right now. Not going to be as cramped as I am right now. I've got a lot of material and tools stored inside the bus while I'm recording this session. But I've got about 4 feet of workable area between back to back in this area here. We'll have a little dinette table that'll drop down, create a platform in between the 2 seats, and then we'll be able to put some padding here for the shorter kids to sleep. Part of the reason why we went with this was because of safety reasons, looking into the travel laws and seat belts and safety and all that kind of stuff, and us being semi-decent parents that don't want to just let our little kids roam freely in a giant vehicle while we're on the road traveling super fast. We needed a safe way for them to be restrained while we're on the road, and most laws in each state require that while the vehicle's moving. Unless it's under a certain different classification, which I'm still learning about, so I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on. But that's kind of where we're at with that. So this booth that I'm sitting in now will back up. It's back to my seat, which is removed at the moment because I got a lot of work doing up in the cockpit area, cleaning up wires and floor and all that kind of stuff. So jumping back to the back of the bus again on the passenger side. Back corner, basically from the back of the bus to the back of the fender well, is going to be our bathroom and washroom. I got a little feeding trough. Right now it's 2x2. Probably looking to extend that to a different type that's a little bit longer. It'll serve kind of like as a tub for the smallest kids and also like a shower pan. Then I'll have that wall built out from the back door about midway up the bus, and then they'll also have a composting sawdust toilet in that same area as well. Got a propane tankless water heater that's coming with a shower head built in that will go back there in the wall that I'm going to frame up, and they'll have a little door getting into that room. That shower head feature will also be able to reach out the window and back around to the back, which I'm very excited about. We're going to weld a platform there, probably 2 to 3 feet out the back, deck that in, and then extend that up to the roof, where we're going to have pretty much a 10 by 8 deck on top of the bus for just chilling. Talking with my brother who does some welding, he's helping me design a little bit of a collapsible safety rail system for the top, so we don't have to worry about little kids running off the edge of the bus and falling and breaking something or worse. So it'll give mom a little bit of peace of mind, and it'll be a really cool place for us to chill and also kind of work as a storage rack for kayaks or any kind of long thing that we're going to haul up there. It'll be just kind of cool to chill up there on the deck. So on the back deck there, you'll be able to use that as kind of an outdoor shower. If you bring that shower head out the back window and reach around, you can kind of rinse off there if we're at the beach, get all the sand off you before you come in the bus, and then get cleaned up. On the driver's side, back on the deck, will be propane storage, and then also probably going to put in a little propane grill back there if it doesn't block the lights and everything on the very back. So looking forward to that. Then coming back through the bus, about midway on the passenger side above the fender well, we're going to make that the utility closet, and we'll have all of our solar energy equipment there. I can't remember off the top of my head what the wattage is for the system that I bought, but it's a 2-panel. I believe it's 200 watt, but I'm probably wrong about that. Electricity and the solar aspect of this is completely foreign to me. Kind of learning as I'm going and tapping into some greater expertise with that when we get to that point. But I purchased a 2-panel system, and I got 2 big lithium batteries that's going to go in here. We'll store that in there with the inverter and all of the other components that go with that. And that'll be either a floor-to-ceiling enclosure that's got that stuff stored in the bottom with some shelving and storage above it, or I might just see how much space I got after taking that up and then cap it off and make it like a little shelf or something with open concept. Then along the rails on both sides on the top, it'll have kind of an open shelving with a lip, ways to secure things, all that kind of stuff. On the passenger side, between the wheel well and the side door, we're going to put a custom bench in there. It's got a scissor feature where it'll slide out, basically butt up to the booth that I'm sitting in, and create another bed area there. And we've purchased some 3-inch high-density foam pads for the back and for the bottom that my wife is going to create. She's going to build sew some nice covered. We've got some nice brown suede type material that she's going to use to make some slip covers for that. So it'll be a real cool couch kind of feel when you're just chilling. And then we can slide that out, drop the back cushion down, and create another sleeping area. That'll be where my wife and I usually sleep, and whatever other kind of kiddos need to lay with us there. We're also kicking around some ideas of maybe some hanging cots for the older 2, because they're still about 50 pounds each and not super long. So that'll be a real cool way to get them up and out of the way and give them something really cool and adventurous to sleep in that they'll be pumped about. So kicking that around a little bit. And then up front here, we'll have a little wall right by the door. And I haven't figured out what we're doing at the very front in the cockpit yet. That's kind of a blank slate. And got some cool ideas, but I'm way away from that at this point. And then as far as the door goes, we've kicked around some different ideas. We are going to end up keeping the original bus doors, but instead of having them open at the center to the left and the right, I'm going to unhinge the one on the to the south, I guess you would call it, the southernmost door, and bolt it with some plates to the other side, on the north end, and so it'll open to the front of the vehicle as one door, and then I'll put some kind of latch on there to secure it and lock it to keep us in here safe where we're parked out in the wild. And so yeah, that's kind of the game plan. Like I said, we're going with some tongue and groove pine siding on the inside, looking for a really clean finish, and it kind of bring a little bit sense of our style to it. My wife and I both love rustic and country decor. We've kind of created a really comfortable and homey space in our home, and I want to transfer that to the bus. My wife's really passionate about making this feel as much like home as possible for the kids, but also for us to kind of help us remind ourselves of what we got, what kind of blessings we have at home. And it'll just be a really cool vibe. I'm super pumped to get it done, and we're going to do some laminate floor on the bottom that we have lying around, some extra from a room that I did earlier in the house. So yeah, super excited. I can't say that enough. I'm really I'm elated. I can't really put into words how thankful I am and how blessed I have been recently. And I just I'm humbled. It's a really cool opportunity. So um, I didn't really talk about it too much. I'll just jump in real quick and comment on the insulation. I went with a like 1 inch high density foam for the walls. It's like purple panel, Pink Panther stuff. That'll fill up most of the gaps around in here. Subflooring, I did 3/4 foil side uh, foam for like garages and stuff. That's got the foil side down, painted the floor with Rust-Oleum protection, like I said. So that's good and solid and insulated from the bottom as well. And then I'll be filling any gaps with great stuff and all that. A lot of the wiring has to stay for lights and all that kind of stuff. I was able to utilize some of the same 12-volt wires already ran for dome lights. And I'm going to be doing some little puck LEDs that you can put on dimmer switches. So I'll get all that set up, and then that'll pretty much be us. I have no idea what I'm doing for cooling and heating. I'm really stumped with this one. I have been going back and forth between a roof unit, a mini split, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with that. So if any of you are listening that have done something like this before, know anything about HVAC, and know of a really cool product that isn't going to take up a ton of space and require me to like build another platform or drop something up under the bus, let me know, because I'm still trying to figure that one out. Once we kind of travel up to the northern states, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal if we don't have anything worked out at that point. The dash AC and heat works in here, but obviously I can't run that when we're parked, or we'll run out of gas. So I need to figure that out, but I'm still kind of stumped with that. So more to come on there. But yeah, I plan on kind of utilizing this for cool little weekend trips, or on longer trips across the country, and any kind of adventure. I'm excited, and it'll just be a cool place to chill and bring some neat people on and let them hang out and chill in the bus. We have not named it yet. We're still working on that. My wife and I both are really sentimental when it comes to that kind of stuff, and so we're putting a lot of thought and effort into that, and we'll come up with something good. And I'm going to hold off on giving you any more details as far as the color schemes or paint colors, all that kind of stuff that we're going for. You'll just have to wait and see. If you are not following me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you need to go and subscribe and follow right now, because I'll be posting a lot of time-lapse videos, a lot of updates on what I'm doing with this, the project, and then our travels once we get going. And then, obviously, if you've been following me, you know that I post a lot of pictures of nature and places I've been, hikes I've taken, and things like that. And so this is just going to contribute to that. Just to be clear, full transparency, this is not the Trail Connection bus. This is the Garland family bus. But the Trail Connection can benefit from that asset. So I'll be throwing a little bit of lettering on it just to identify out on the road. But again, this is not a bus specifically for the Trail Connection or specifically for the bus or for the podcast. This is just a really, really cool thing that my wife has agreed to do for our family, and we're just going to make the most of it. So, thought of the day, man. I was thinking about this last night as I was kind of putting my thoughts together on how I wanted this episode to go, and the main point I want you to take away from today is don't be shy about your dreams. Communicate those to people. Communicate those to people you care about. Communicate those to people that you are friends with, that you interact with. Let people know what your goals are, what your desires are. I got to give a shout out to Justin Faking. He's been on the show earlier in season 1. We did a campfire cooking episode together, first of that series. And I've known Justin for many years now. We worked together. Um, and I was probably closest to him out of all my coworkers at Riverview when I worked there. And he has kind of been in tune with the stuff that I've been wanting to do. I mean, he's always, he's a very thoughtful person. If something he comes across something that he knows he's talked to somebody about, he reaches out to them. And that's exactly what happened with this. I told Justin about my podcast before when it was just a concept. It became a reality, and he's been a big support throughout that. But I told him about my bus plan too, several years ago. And there's been at least two, maybe even, this will probably be the third occasion where he's texted me out of the blue or called me out of the blue and like, hey man, saw this bus, you should check it out, or so and so's got a bus, you should give him a call. And so that's exactly what happened with this. I mean, there's two guys here that I need to give a shout out to, Justin and then Danny Wiggins as well. Danny's the guy I bought the bus from. Both these guys I worked with at the Riverview facility, and that I was at last year. And I've known him for several years. Danny's wife runs a daycare, and Justin he's that guy's on his team, so he knows what's going on. Anyway, Danny mentioned that he was getting rid of a bus. Justin checked it out. Full disclosure here, he was going to be selfish and take it for himself, but thankfully his wife said no. So shout out to to Justin's wife for staying no. So it got passed on to me. Justin shot me a text out of the blue and was just like, hey, Danny's got a bus for sale. It's a really good deal. You should check it out if you're still interested. And I texted him that day, kind of set up a tentative, hey, I'm waiting on some funds to fall in place. I'm very interested kind of thing. And Danny, being a really great guy, was like, yeah, I know you've been wanting this for a while. I'm going to hang on to it for you until you're ready. So he did, and it allowed me to get some things in order, went and checked it out, and, purchased it sight seen. As soon as we got there, I test drove it. Kids fell in love with it. I fell in love with it, and it was perfect for what we needed. So if I had not communicated to Justin what my dream was of wanting to do this one day, that would have been an opportunity missed. He wouldn't have known I was in the market for a bus. He wouldn't have known that I was interested in converting it to an RV and taking it around the country and all that kind of stuff. And so, again, my main point for the day, the main takeaway is don't be shy about your dreams, and don't keep that stuff confided. I mean, obviously, if it's something deeply personal, like an internal goal that you want to accomplish, then that's fine. But if it's something that others can help you with, don't be shy to talk about it and express that. And again, another big shout out to my wife. I mean, I've been talking about this probably nonstop for the last 2 years. So, backing up real quick, a real fast story, and then we'll wrap up. 2 years ago, we took a trip to Chicago to visit her family around New Year's. We've taken that trip several times with young kids. It's a long drive. It's about 21 hours, 22 hours where we are to there. Maybe less. I don't know. It always takes forever, though. Trip up was great. No problems. And we got there just fine. Trip home, totally different story. My wife was sick. One of my kids was sick. We got a late start. We were in a rush to try to get to Mammoth Cave and hit a couple national parks on the way home. That did not work out. We got there because of the delayed start right as the last tour was wrapping up. Kids were miserable. We had potty breaks what felt like every 15 minutes, just ping-ponging. And got to a point in Tennessee where I just couldn't take it anymore. So I pulled off, got a hotel for the night. It was raining. And I just told my wife, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not driving the six of us with these kids this young, thousands of miles away without some way of making this drive more comfortable. be it all a toilet in the vehicle, or a way to go to the bathroom in the vehicle, and just a way for them to stretch out and stretch their legs a little bit without me having to stop so much. And that 21 or 22 hour drive turned into a 2-day trip, which, hindsight, we probably shouldn't have planned to do it straight through with 4 kids, but whatever. But that was kind of the seed that was planted. And so I remember vividly, that was how the conversation started with my wife. I was like, look, there's a lot of people who do these conversions. This would be awesome. We go up here to Chicago. We stay with your family. We're a big family now. We can stay in our own spot and be, comfortable. Let me do it. Let's do it. Come on, let's do it. And it just kind of was one of these things that she's like, no. That's crazy. A lot of money, all that kind of stuff. And over the last 2 years, we've just revisited this conversation many, many, many times. And she finally agreed to it. And I'm going to give her major props here, because she's not a selfish person at all. Obviously, by allowing me to do this and spend a good chunk of money on the vehicle and the renovation and all that kind of stuff, she's very much in tune with blessing others. And that was one of the first things she said to me when we agreed to do this. And we brought it home, was that she wanted to make it really cool so that we could, really enjoy it with our family, but also so that we could bless others with this. And so, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. It's just a really, really awesome thing to have a woman like that is that thoughtful of other people. And so that's what we're going to do. We'll get this thing rolling. We'll make some really cool memories with it, and then hopefully we'll be able to bless other people with it too, so they can make some cool memories. And so that's what this is all about. With that, I'll wrap up today. This was kind of an unconventional opportunity to throw an episode into the mix. Wasn't really in the plan at this point, but neither was buying a bus 2 weeks ago. So that's where we're at. New adventures, new exciting stuff going on, and I'm pumped to show you guys the progress. Talk to you a little bit about the whole lessons learned thing as we're getting through it. I've already learned a lot of do's and don'ts, and just sharing that with that community, and then also branching into a whole other community, which is the van life, bus life, Skoolie conversion crowd. So excited about that, and excited to see what the world has to offer. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave me a nice review there. I greatly appreciate that. If you're watching this on YouTube, also hit that subscribe button and turn on those alerts. Drop me a comment and let me know what you think of the show. Looking for us on social media, you can find us at The Trail Connection on Instagram and Facebook. We share lots of cool photos of nature and some nice deep thoughts about those photos. And be sure to give us a follow, give us a like, check out what we got going on a daily basis. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. My name is Tim Garland, aka Mitty, and you're listening to the Trail Connection Podcast.